Life Lessons by
Grandpa Kev. When Grandpa Kev and his brother Kerry were young boys, they used to spend part of their summer in Idaho with their grandparents. We would go to two different grandparents. One was Grandpa and Grandma Wynn, who had nobody at their home but them and their old 17-year-old horse named Sailor. So there wasn't a lot for us to do. And they lived on a farm in Battle Creek, Idaho, just north of Preston. And we would go up there and try to figure out what to do for a whole week. It seemed like a long time. And there were lots of interesting things to do. So on one occasion, when I was 7 and my brother was 5, he and I found some matches downstairs in the basement in a cupboard. We took the matches and we went outside, and there was lots of straw in all the little barns around the barnyard, and we would make little piles of straw and set them on fire and watch them as they burned, and then we would stomp them out so that they didn't keep burning. So we had visited most of the barns where the sheep were, the barns where the chickens were, and the barn where they kept the grain, and even by the garage where my grandpa kept his cars. And then we looked around to find another place, and we found the big milking barn, which was right next to a great big mountainous haystack. We thought that would be a good place. As we got there, we saw that there was a big watering bucket, 5-gallon watering bucket. So we decided to fill the watering bucket with some straw and some hay. And we lit a match and put it in there. And to our surprise, the fire not only started, but it shot up way above our heads, maybe 5 feet high, it seemed like. And so it scared us. So what we did is we hurried and turned the bucket upside down so it would stop the fire, and we ran to the house where my grandma was waiting for us, and we were in the house. Well, we weren't in the house for very long, about a half an hour, and there's a knock at the door, funk, 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 and there was a stranger at the door, and my grandmother answered the door, and we were standing right there with her, and the gentleman said, "Hey, lady, did you know your haystack was on fire?" And right then, terror shot through my mind, as I knew we had been playing with matches and we'd been out there. So in the next few minutes, there were fire engines and neighbors and my grandpa and grandma out fighting this great big, huge haystack fire that was out of control. It wound up burning my grandpa's new haystack down right to the ground, and he lost all the hay for his cows. He was a dairy farmer, and he lived off the milk that he milked his cows with every morning and night. So that was pretty scary. But then, as the fire was being put out, and as we were there, my aunt Dion, she asked us if we had been playing with matches. And I was 7 years old, so I knew how to lie. I said, "No, we weren't playing with matches." And my brother, who was just about to turn 5, when she asked him, "Kerry, did you light some matches? Were you playing with matches?" And he started crying and said, "Kevin lit the most matches." So we were caught and we were in trouble. So by then my dad, who had been fishing, had come to take us to go fishing with him because he was catching lots of fish. Found out that we had burnt the haystack on fire, and he was very upset. And luckily we had my grandma and my Aunt Dion to protect us from our dad, who was upset and wanted to give us a spanking for what we had done. So that was a very sad day. One of the things we learned was to never, ever play with matches. And that's something that I learned was never, ever lie about playing with matches, because it made it even